Five Nights at Freddy's, good Halloween hit, or not so much? Find out in my review right now. Okay, thank you all for coming back to the channel, everybody. Let's talk about Five Nights at Freddy's. But before we do, I'm going to talk about Lords of LA. We are launching on Kickstarter. Our pre-launch is up right now. We have 130 followers already after only a couple of days. I'm going to put the little QR code up right now so you can click, and it doesn't cost you anything to sign up and get notified about when we launch. And we're going to have early bird specials and all that stuff. So I'm really excited about everything. This is the first issue, which has been out and fulfilled, and now we're going on with the second one. This is 48 pages. My vampire mob in the 50s that takes place during the golden age of Hollywood. So anyway, check that out, and remember to like and subscribe, and let's get right into Five Nights at Freddy's. So, Five Nights at Freddy's. I just, caught back from the theater. It's Thursday night right now. This probably won't release till Friday. But it is a Chuck E. Cheese. I guess this is based on some kind of a video game or something to that effect. About animatronic animals like Chuck E. Cheese that, were on a band or whatever else. But these were a little bit more intricate, where they were able to walk around if they were being controlled. And this takes place, I think, in the 90s. It never actually tells you it takes place in the 90s, but it doesn't take place in the 80s because they keep referring to the 80s, so therefore that decade has to be over. But it's not the 2000s either because nobody has a smartphone. All of the cell phones are, little nothings that we used to have in the 90s after we had beepers. So either it's kind of late 90s is what I'm thinking. But anyway, so nobody's got really a cell phone besides, the ones that were kind of junk at the time. So I really wish they had said that. And of course, they had the high top sneakers and stuff like that they had back in the day. Which made things different because you couldn't text and things like that. And that makes more sense for this kind of film. So it stars Josh Hutcherson, who, I really haven't seen much out of him since The Hunger Games. I know he did another series for Hulu that, everybody liked and I couldn't get through. It was called Future Man. So I couldn't get through it. It was just too dumb for me. But I'm glad he's working. I think he's talented. I just, don't think he gets enough roles. And I know he's like a short person as well, so some of the total roles aren't going to him. Elizabeth Lail is also in it, playing Vanessa. She's from You, but mostly she's more of a TV actress. Piper Rubio plays the young sister, and Matthew Lillard, who played the original Shaggy, was also in Scream. I think he was also in, Bad Girls or Good Girls. Good Girls. He played the husband. So he's done a bunch of stuff. So there was nothing wrong with the acting here. Nothing wrong with the acting. The problem is, and I'm getting ahead of myself, because this is by the same producers that did Megan. And it's, of course, has the same kind of, log line, about a robot that kills people, right? Except this is a group of robots that look like animals, where the other one, looked like a human. And that one was more sci-fi, and this is more supernatural. So this is not compared to Megan at all. And I really think it's because of the people that were in pre-production on this thing. So if you want to say above the line, I think your above the line people were not anything in comparison to what you had in Megan. Okay, so I don't really know the people that we had in Megan off the top of my head. However, I remember knowing that they had some credits behind them. So this is written and directed by Emma Tammy. I'm trying to look for the name. Yeah, Emma Tammy, who has very little. She has no writing credits whatsoever. She has very few directing credits, mostly shorts. Then you got Scott Cawthon in there as another writer, and the only thing he wrote, I think, was the video game. So he was the author of the video games and stuff like that. It makes sense to bring him in as a consultant, but as a full writer, I don't know how much his contributions were. And then you have Seth Kudabak. I have no idea how he's even in there. He's got very little credit. So you across the board, you have very little credits. It was almost like you gave all these guys a shot at a film. But the good news for them is I think this is going to go do very, very well. Because I was in the theater with children. People brought their children to a horror film. And of course, they were bored. I was bored. I could just imagine what the kids were like. So they were bouncing out of their chairs. They dropped like an entire tub of popcorn. I did not have a good time at the theater tonight. I did a double feature tonight. I saw two films. I'm going to do a review on the other film as well. I went to see a John Cena film that was not well published at all. Nobody even knew about this film, but I'm going to talk about that one also. That was called Freelance. And I had three middle-aged women that literally she kept the phone on in her face for 2 hours straight. I had to leave the row. I had to go up further because she would not let go of the phone. It's like, I have to have it like this. I don't care if I'm at the movie theater. I'm actually going to believe I'm at home. I don't give a shit who else is around me. I'm going to make believe I'm at home, and this is how I watch TV. Come on, man. And then when I was in the next movie, which was Five Nights at Freddy's, I guess these people were online gamblers because they had the gambling app open. The husband and the wife both had. I mean, one guy has had headphones on the whole movie. Why are these people going to the movies? Why are they paying $50, $60 with their kid? He's not one who brought kids with them. I warned her straight out. I said, do not turn that phone on. I already had a bad experience my last theater. So you and I are going to have a problem. So she eventually switched with her husband. So her husband sat next to me. So believe me, I would have had no problem taking his ass outside. That's how upset I was by the time I got to that theater. So anyway, let's get back into the movie now that I have my tirade about cell phones. I really think that they should collect cell phones before you walk into the theater. I really think so. People can't control themselves. They have no willpower. It's just crazy to me. So anyway, this is a Blumhouse film, and Blumhouse is known for some of their really good films, and there, of course, some are not. And I don't think that people are going to like this, but people are going to spend money on it. So I think it'll do well. I don't think the budget was high, especially with the cast and the above the line people involved. But who knows? Who knows? I guess we'll find out by Sunday, how it does. But I think it's going to do well. Word of mouth for the advertising obviously has been very good. So I personally, so let's get into the development of the characters. So I was actually pleasantly surprised in the beginning with, Josh Hutcherson's character. I originally thought that the little girl was his daughter, but it wasn't. It was his sister, which made really no sense whatsoever. So I guess it was from a different mother, because he says, well, her mother died. He didn't say my mother died. He said her mother died. We never even know about what happened with his mom and dad. He said, well, his father couldn't take her, so he almost took her on. But then his aunt, who's played by Mary Stuart Masterson, who's like a legend. So I was actually surprised that she was in there. It was definitely a different type of film for her. It wasn't a big role. I really don't understand why she took it. She probably took it as a favor, or she just needed a role. I don't know. But she last thing I saw her in was Blind Spot on television. But she's very good, and she did a lot of films back in the '80s and things to that effect. But anyway, so he's got like a custody battle going on with his aunt. But his brother was taken when he was 12, and he feels responsible because he was supposed to watch his brother. So he knows in his head that he has seen the guy, although that ends up probably not being the case because we never get a closure on that at all, and on that particular piece, and or the fact that he saw him, I should say. We never get closure on the fact that he saw him, and so that's where this whole thing kind of goes. Is that he is determined to find out who took his brother, and every time that he gets triggered by anytime he hears kids, anytime he hears kids being in trouble, or if he witnesses kids being in trouble, he immediately gets triggered. So I thought that was very interesting, but we really don't go anywhere with that with the characters. Unfortunately, we don't. And so that's a dead end. And then so we say, okay, we're gonna go see a whole lot of stuff about killings with the thing, because like what we did with Megan, where the killings were kind of sporadic throughout this thing. Not with this movie, unfortunately. There's one scene where most of the stuff that we see is off screen, and that's because basically it's silly. It's silly. Uh, so we get, I don't know why he took, because even the stuff that could be kind of gory, that could be kind of Saw type of thing, he took that off screen too. So, or she, I should say. Well, I'm sure it wasn't Blumhouse that did this. It was a director. So Tammy took, for whatever reason, she decided to take this off screen. So we have a horror movie that has no horror. So we have main characters that we really don't get anything out of. And and so it's really, the film is really a letdown across the board. There's nothing to this film. It's boring. We don't feel any satiation by the end. It's not really funny, so it's not really a dark comedy. It's just nothing. It's just a nothing film. And they really needed to get better people to write and direct. Now, I think that's the major problem, because it's nothing. The actors, I would say that the actors semi dialed this in. I didn't really see, any really. I mean, there was a couple of times when Josh Hutcherson was talking about his brother, and we had tears and like that. So they didn't dial it. They didn't really dial it in, but they didn't go over and above. I can tell you that, because I think they knew this was silly. But on the other side of the coin, you can't blame the acting. You got to blame more of the directing. So I would not hire Emma Tammy, to do anything that I was doing. So if this is the best she can do with a multi-million-dollar budget, then I got no place for her. So unfortunately, so that's my 2 cents here. If I'm out of 10, I'm going to give this thing a 3. It was really, really a letdown. It's a skip it if you happen to catch it on streaming. Great, but what's going to happen is you're going to go into the kitchen and clean and do your laundry while this thing's playing in the background. I guarantee it. And I thank God I decided to go to see Freelance first. I really kind of wish I saw it last. Freelance was a lot more fun than this was. I'll do a video on that one as well. I had a lot more fun in that film. Anyway, that's all I could say about this, because I got really nothing on this. I kind of over talked this thing. And then when you actually find out who the killer is and stuff like that, it's so coincidental. It's so contrived that it's just like, really? This is what you're getting? This is what you're giving us for the ending? Really? Yeah. So total letdown. Total letdown. Skip it. Skip it. Don't waste your money on it. All right, and I was looking forward to it too because I thought it was, kind of like Megan-esque. And I really liked Megan, by the way. So let's get into my own stuff real quick to close this up. Thank you guys for so much for watching. And again, I want to plug my own books. As you know, I am an award-winning screenwriter as well. I'm also a producer. That's why when I say I wouldn't hire her, I'm also a line producer and a producer as well. And of course, I'm kind of on hiatus with everyone else because nobody's working because of the strike. So that's what's going on there. But anyway, this is my fantasy novel, Tales of Ravenor, The Iron Witch. This is a fantasy book with a whole new magic system, and we have a whole continent of kingdoms that all of the different states or realms all pray to different gods. They all have different looks based on our history of our world. So we have the Egyptians, we have, almost like an Asian Japanese, we have Greek, etc. And of course, we have like the medieval England. So anyway, we have it's got a nice twists and turns in there. We got some romance in there. I got a little bit of everything, and I think everybody will like it. Then we have my sci-fi. This is the comic book adaptation of my 4-book quadrilogy, Destiny Aurora, about space cops, basically, but we have a good twist in there, and they're in a kind of an eclectic crew of aliens and androids, and each one of them, kind of has their own arcs going on, and we have a nice twist in the middle. I did a twist in the middle of the first book. Let's see if you see what's coming. All right, and then of course, let me plug Lords of LA again, and please, if you can, go and sign up if you're at all interested in seeing the different packages I have. All right, and that is on the QR code that we have here. All right, thanks again, guys, so much for watching, and I appreciate everybody's support and help me build the channel. All right, have a good one, guys. All right, bye-bye.